But I can always, that'd be so funny to just like keep in too, because I fucking love that shit. Okay, regardless, episode 2, Paul, here at Natural Element headquarters. What's up, buddy?
I'm good.
Hold on, do that again. He was just brushing his fucking hair.
Yeah, but that's me, right?
That's me, yeah.
Here, we got some Kleenexes here for you, bud.
There you go.
All
right.
That's true, it is you.
If people know me and they see that, they'll be like, oh my god.
Yeah, no.
Okay, go ahead, Lucah.
Yeah, for sure. So how are you? What'd you do for New Year's, man?
Just hung out at home, had a house party.
Nice.
I had about 2 friends over. My roommate had the rest of them over, like ton of people. So yeah.
Rocking out?
Yeah, it was
Drunk a
good.
ton?
Yeah, we went to this bar. I forgot the name of it. One of the guys who was over was playing that night. Dr. Ozio or something.
Interesting.
It was good. It was a good time.
Yeah, sick, man.
What kind of
good.
music or something?
Like trap or something.
Trap.
Yeah.
That's like hip hop kind of,
It's
with
like
all the
EDM.
hi-hats.
Yeah.
That kind of shit, right?
It was a really good time.
So what do you do? What's your deal? Overall,
professionally?
Overall, yeah.
Your career.
Software engineer. I focused a lot on video gaming. Not so much anymore because there's not too much money in it. Now I'm working in the financial sector because that's where the money is.
Right. So there's not too much money, because I think a lot of people think that I think maybe a common misconception when I was younger, I thought that there was probably a lot of money in video games or something.
Yeah. No.
But there's not.
No, not for the monkeys like me, the people at the bottom level.
Right.
Managerial, yeah. Executives, definitely.
Did you ever try to work at Ubisoft or something like that, like a bigger company?
Kind of, yeah. I went through that route. I wasn't as strong as a developer as my peers at the time, so I never quite made it through interviews. I didn't really get it at the time. I was kind of a slow learner, I guess you could say.
What do you have to do to be a good developer?
Patience. You have to have patience. You have to be willing to sit in front of a computer for 12 hours straight, not sleep for weeks at a time. Your diet has to be shit. Soylent. That's.
I got a whole case if you want to buy it off me.
Yeah. Yeah. No. You kind of have to. You have to be a weird person. You have to be a different kind of guy.
Or girl.
Or girl.
I guess a lot of people just view it as like, I'm going to go in and be the creative director and do all this creative shit, but it's really not like that, I guess. It's just more like coding.
Yeah, I don't know. See, people who are into coding don't really aspire to be execs, Right. They, for the most part, they like to be able to they like to be programmers, and in fact, that's what... There's a misconception. See, a lot of the times they view it as programming, where in reality it's not that. It's more so development. And what development is the design process. It's the problem solving. Programming is one aspect of it.
Right.
And so when I was growing up, I was like, oh, I want to be a programmer and this and that, but it's really not about programming.
But what does that even?
Programming is. When you hear the word programming, you think language.
Yeah.
But that's just language is just a means to an end. It's not. You don't really have to know a language to be a good developer.
It's a mindset.
It's a mindset. That's
right.
exactly it.
Right. You have to just be willing to, like you said, just
you have to think like a machine.
Right. You can keep these two, keep them in, and I'll just be on side. That actually reminded me of this article that I read, because there was that huge time, maybe it was like 2015, 2016, where people thought, if I'm going to make my own websites, I'm going to be creative, I should learn programming. And I think that there's a certain element of that still, but I read this article by a programmer that was like, creative people need to stop trying to program.
Exactly.
Hire us to do it, because I'm not going to be that. I can't be the creator. I'm the programmer. Right. And we are a team. We need the two skills to come together. Occasionally, you might come together and have a programmer who's also going to execute on something incredibly creative. But this article was basically saying this programmer was like, I want your ideas. I want to bring your ideas to life, because my brain doesn't work that way.
So the programmer was, sorry, who was
the the programmer was basically saying that as a programmer, he's come to recognize that his skill set is just not the creative side, and he was trying to urge creatives that programming is really difficult, and to not feel like you need to learn programming in order to create, technological things.
Well, I guess the big thing now is like making apps or whatever, right? Everybody wants to make the next app. Mm-hmm. And like, I think there's a big element of creativity there because it's mostly about the idea or whatever. Right. But like, we had a conversation about this, remember, where it's like, you come up with the idea, and then what the fuck? It's like, that's only 1/1000th of the final process. You know what I mean? But how do you navigate that? Like, if I have a great idea, but I'm not a programmer, what the heck?
See, as a developer, from my point of view, the most important thing, and we were talking about this before, the most important thing is having the idea and the plan of execution. Having a programmer is just, we're a dime a dozen. Especially now you can outsource to India. Now, mind you...
We're all about that, though.
I am.
People do that shit all the time.
If you could, you'd outsource your life to India.
Or China.
People do have outsourced lives to India and China.
You'd have your whole, like...
Apparently now we're outsourcing our crime to India.
Shit, interesting.
I took that from GTA.
That's hilarious. Just go rob people over there.
Yeah.
But so did you ever try to make an app, or how did that go down?
Oh, I certainly did. I most certainly did. No, so I spent about 7-8 years on a goddamn app.
See, that's incredible.
It is.
8
Respect,
years, like,
man, respect.
That's crazy, man. To spend 8 years to commit something. I think that's a problem with our generation, and that's a big problem that I have personally a lot of times. And I have followed through on certain projects, but there's certainly for every project that I have made, which is not that many, there's a million other projects.
I think that's what makes you great, though.
Fall by the wayside.
I think that having projects that kind of come down,
right, like fall off and whatever.
But walk us through that.
Yeah. Tell us about the 8 years. How did it get started? That's what I want to know. Like, what did the first 6 months look like? Because I think that's the hardest part in starting a business is the first 6 months.
Okay. The idea came to me because I.
Also, what year? Because I think that's mad relevant as far as trends and stuff.
Yeah.
2008.
Okay.
So
that was a big moment in tech.
Yeah. There was a big... there's a financial crash or something like that. That didn't really...
But it was also the same time that the App Store was like... Mm-hmm. So tell us about the beginning of your...
So, at that time, I'd worked a number of full-time jobs, and I was upset with the fact that my life had come down to that, where I would have to go to a job for 8 hours a day, come home, make something to eat, be exhausted, go to bed, and repeat every day for the rest of my life. Yeah, it's so depressing. It's terrible.
Right, yeah. I hear you.
And so I figured now's the time to kind of do something to, especially now with that whole emergence of that market for independence, right? So
you had the idea, like, what's the day one? You're coding. What the heck? What's the process?
Well, hold on. First of all, I was marrying my two passions, right? So I love video games and I love music, so I wanted to tie in those two passions together to kind of create a project that defined who I was, and by doing so, I could die happy,
right?
With a product under my name that defined me, and is basically myself manifested into a product. So what I did was, and I went about it extremely unprofessionally. I was still a kid, so I figured, okay, I'll just bang out some code, see where it takes me, and go from there. I'll never ever do that again.
Why not? Also, what do you mean by just banging out code?
Just sitting down and creating like a proof of concept.
Right.
To determine if it can be done.
But how did you do any of the visuals and stuff like that? You know what I mean?
Okay, so...
Like, how did it come together? You sat down, you wrote some code. Did you have someone else do the graphics? Or
I did eventually. So I made dummy graphics.
Mm-hmm. Just like in Photoshop or something?
Yeah.
Okay, just... Right.
Yeah. Well, I was using Max.
I hear you. So you just very rudimentary.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, they're placeholders, right? Anything that you can use to give you that instant feedback that it's there and it's moving. It doesn't have to look good. It just has to be a placeholder.
Right.
You obviously have to set the correct dimensions and color depth and all that stuff. But you don't need to be an artist. You just need to create the asset.
That's the most important thing. Is that right?
How do you mean? What?
To just prototype it?
Prototype.
Doesn't matter if it looks like crap?
Yeah, as a developer, right?
Right.
Yeah, definitely. It doesn't have to look amazing. You know, you can use your imagination to fill in the blanks there, but you do need to have the assets there as for your prototype.
So you do that.
Hold on. What direction are we going here?
We're going in where sort of like you're sitting down, you're making this idea, your first thing is you're banging it out, and so you said you went about it really unprofessionally. So what way, was it the starting that sucked, or was it the kind of further down the line?
Well, let's just say I'll never ever work on a project again unless the business plan is complete, unless the requirements are defined, unless the deadline is set. And I would utilize the agile approach, the agile methodology, which is basically you're tackling bite-sized components at a time, right? So and the deadline is broken down into what are called sprints. So a sprint will last maybe a week, 2 weeks. It's something that everyone should know about, is the agile methodology. It's more of a business term than in development. So basically what you do is, let's say, for example, so you have this overwhelmingly large project that needs to be done. What do? You break it down into bite-sized tasks. So instead of envisioning the end goal of the project, you look at it in terms of, okay, what can I complete tomorrow or at the end of the week?
Sounds like film.
Is that right?
In many ways, yeah. I mean, you got to do that pretty. Yeah, I mean, it's absolutely
Storyboards, pre-production. You got to plan it out.
Right, but not only that, you need to have dates attached to those end goals.
Right.
That's, I think, a piece that I think a lot of people miss. Absolutely.
Dates.
Yeah, because we did that with passing in a way.
We did.
Where it was like we said
we had hard dates for everything.
Has to be done by this time, and it made a huge difference in in the ability to complete a project.
Right, and think of it in terms of like deliverables to your
client.
To your client.
Even if you could be your own client, right?
Yeah.
Because when we were making our own film, it was like we didn't have anybody we were responsible to, but sometimes that's the problem, I guess.
Yes, that's that.
You got to hold yourself accountable, right?
I agree with that.
So where'd you go wrong?
Overall, it took way too long. I missed the boat.
Right.
From a business, I wasn't respectful of the business requirements of the project. It was,
which is like money and stuff like that.
No, like what does it take to be successful? I wasn't thinking in terms of how can this be successful?
Right. How's it going to make money?
How can it actually make money?
Right.
I figured, okay, you make a product, it's good. If you yourself or your friends would like to play it, then it's successful. But no, that's a tiny piece of the pie. The rest of it is marketing, timing, luck, support, networking, all that good stuff. The product itself is 30%.
Right.
Wow.
And that's what I missed. I thought.
See, most people think its product is 100%.
Yeah.
Because it kind of just makes sense.
That's what I mean by unprofessional or immature. I would say immature. I was very immature about it.
Right. You just didn't know, though.
I didn't know. I was stubborn, I guess you can say. Big lesson learned.
What was the app supposed to do?
So it's done. It's just not launched because I still.
Yeah.
So the app is a Guitar Hero type clone.
Okay, well, I love Guitar Hero, so you got a customer right here.
Yeah.
So
okay.
Yeah.
Are you willing to put in 99 cents on it though?
Oh, true. I mean, okay, so I got a Guitar Hero-esque app, and I found that it was nothing compared to what it was to play on the system, just using my thumbs. So I don't know if it's a user interface or, as they say, like UI or whatever, that isn't really compatible. That real experience maybe isn't compatible on a mobile device. But if it was as fun and you could develop your skill as much as I felt like I could, because the best part about Guitar Hero to me and that whole franchise, which I'm really sad that's over, is that if you want to get better at something in your skill level, there's nothing that compares to starting a beginner and being able to bang out a song on expert, being 3 songs away from the end of completing the whole game, and your one solo just keeps ringing you, crashing down. That's really the experience of Guitar Hero. And I think that if that was on an app, I'd be addicted.
Progression.
Absolutely.
Progression.
Yeah.
Mastering.
Exactly. The mastering. I love to be able to get better. And also it's great for people like me who don't really like first person shooters and who don't really like really complicated. When I'm watching Mitch play a video game and he was trying so hard to like figure something out, and I'm thinking this seems like a lot of fun, but for me, I'm like, I would just get so frustrated. So I feel like everyone kind of has but when he does do it well, it's like amazing.
Yeah.
Right. There's that dopamine factor.
Yes.
But so you never released it. So basically you still don't really know anything.
You know what?
What if you
launching or shipping a product is huge.
It's the hardest part of the process, eh?
I wouldn't say that. It's a major component. It's something you can't quite you can't predict the outcome.
Right.
Okay, so yeah, you can have a product. It's done. You've play tested it. You've had your peers test it, but going from a completed product that's not shipped to shipped is a major milestone. I still haven't done it, so yes, there's a lot to I can learn from it. But that's and it's a major process too. So you have to go through all the red tape.
I'm sure there's fear there too, in a sense. I mean, I feel.
Yeah, are you like nervous, self-conscious about it to release it, or what's the personal?
At this point, no, I don't care. I really don't care.
Did you go through a period of it's not good enough, nobody's gonna like it, that's why you didn't release it?
Yeah, for the most part. And you know, first impressions are important, right? So I wanted it to go out with a bang, right? Yeah. Because if you look at the trends for the apps or the sales for the apps, it always spikes at the beginning, and then it kind of tails off, and you might get another spike if you introduce another feature, or if you have maybe another game that you launch that links to your game, you'll see another spike. But for the most part, and this is true, that when you release something, you most probably get the highest amount of sales initially.
For an app, that makes sense.
Well, anything, right? A movie.
But some things though can start slow and then trend up.
Okay, I see what you mean. And it also depends on the model, right?
Depends what it is.
Monetization model. Yeah, like something like Uber, right? I mean, that
was a very slow, right?
Right.
Took years and years, really.
You're right about that. Yeah.
And I would say really only now is Uber like.
And now they're going next. They're already. Forbes magazine was doing an article about Uber's already trying to figure out how is this going to work in the self-driving car market,
right?
Which is quite exciting.
Well, they're introducing that, are they not?
I mean that they are, but that's the thing. But we're still far away from it in the sense where it's not right now. We're not self-driving cars aren't like mainstream. That's the word.
Right, they're not here.
They're not here. So
I can't get a self-driving car right now.
Right.
So okay, I just want to wrap up this story about your app. Would you make another one? Just close it out, kind of.
Definitely.
You would, even though the first one. I think it's safe to say the first one was
blood, sweat, and tears. I went through.
It was painful. You considered it a failure, because I think that's important.
Yeah, of course.
You considered it a failure, but you would still do another one.
Yes.
Did you lose money on the first one?
Of course I did.
But you would still make another one.
Yeah.
That's huge to me. That's like
I lost everything, like $100,000, roughly.
Yeah.
Over a period of 8 years or so.
Yeah.
I think the secret now is to, like I said before, plan it out, really plan it out, map it out. It doesn't need to be completely mapped out, but you need to map out at least 2 weeks. So you need to be fast, you need to fail fast.
Mm-hmm. Love that. I love that concept.
Yeah, absolutely. So you make something with, say, a 2-week scope. You complete that, you launch it, then you iteratively develop on that. So you don't take forever, as like what I did.
Like 10 years.
Yeah, you just go in, try to make it work. What do you see happening in tech right now?
But that's I just wanted to say that's an incredibly valuable learning experience. And most people would never even get to that point, I don't think.
I agree.
I don't think most people even get to the point of investing money.
But am I happy with that? Am I happy with a 10-year sacrifice like that?
Probably not, but like at least you learned something.
Of course, yeah.
Right. And and you did it young.
Yes.
You did it relatively young, right? So I mean, you're in a good place to try it again. And even the fact that you're going to still even try it again is admirable.
Yes, but it took time for that. It took at least a year.
Yeah,
I was done.
That's not even long. A year, in the grand scheme of things, a year to bounce back from something like that is not much, really, I don't think.
Yeah. I needed a break. And so I'm, if the opportunity does arise again, I will take it.
You would do it.
Yeah. But again, this time it's about being smart. And that's another valuable lesson too, is you got to work smart and not hard. Mm-hmm. I worked extremely, extremely hard. What
for you would have been that difference when you were like, in terms of obviously working hard probably means like you were up really late, you were working really long hours and really putting a lot of time. Where would have been the smart move to change? Because, we talk a lot about that running a business. We do sleep, we hang out still. And so, we're going for a smarter approach as well as a hard approach. You kind of, working hard and smart is probably the best. Mm-hmm. But,
Yeah, and actually I think a lot of people would argue.
Yeah.
They would say, no, just smart and not even hard.
So what would you have changed?
Yeah.
But no, yeah, okay, you're right. So what would have I changed? Yeah.
Just less hours or something? More planning, less grinding. Is that what you're saying?
Yes.
That's what I'm kind of seeing.
And just have reasonable deadlines. Don't see, I had no deadline in sight.
Is that because you nitpicked everything and you were like, where you should have just been like hitting milestones?
I would work on things like the menu screens before actual core gameplay.
Right.
Right. Stupid.
Right.
Terrible.
That's like songwriting, right? When it's like, let's EQ this thing before you've even got a structure.
Exactly.
Same with filmmaking.
People are like, I still do with music, and just hearing that sounds terrible.
His editing technique is so awesome with that. When we first went down to throw this cut down of the film, and I'll remember this forever too. We had all this audio. And so I thought, oh shit, syncing up all this audio is going to be a huge fucking bitch. And then he was like, no, let's just cut the film and then we'll sync the audio after. Saved so much time.
Right.
Oh, and also what a lot of people do
which is good that way.
When they're editing, a lot of people, what I notice is what they do is they'll sit down, they'll have however many gigs of footage, tons of shots.
Right.
And you're not going to use every shot anyway. And if you were on set or you talk to the director, you probably know what's good. So it's like, when I go in and do a rough cut, you just chop everything together. And then you go back after and decide which shots you should replace to make better.
Okay.
A lot of people, what they do is they go in, they look through every single shot.
Like on site.
Like they'll take a whole day and go through every single shot. Okay. And then start editing.
Right.
Where it's like you could have already had a rough cut done and then someone would have been like, oh, let's just replace that shot, cut done.
Yeah, I hear you.
There's scenarios where you do have to go through and log all the footage and stuff.
Okay.
But like, some people literally scrub through every second of footage, which I think is just crazy.
Right.
That's kind of like you working on the menu before you even know what the menu's going to lead to.
I'm very thorough that way too. I'm very I work slow, but I'm extremely thorough.
Is it about like sketching something out quickly, moving to the next stage, then coming back, and you're kind of always jumping around or something?
That's what my mistake was.
Right. You should have been kind of flip-flopping a bit more to get progression on the thing as a whole.
Right.
And then go back and tweak after.
But just get your MVP done, your minimal viable product, or minimal viable product.
That's a great...
Yeah.
That's a great line.
Get that done.
Get your MVP done.
That takes 2 weeks to
minimum viable product.
And then you wait for, feedback from your
or your audience, or whoever. Yeah.
Because you look, and then anytime there's a change, the funniest part is like, for instance, Facebook. They change shit up all the time. People complain, and then we forget. We just totally forget what it was before, and we're in an age now where change is accepted within the internet industry.
Yes,
Yeah.
and that's agile.
Yeah,
that's something that.
That's what you were talking about earlier.
Yeah, and that's something that was introduced not too long ago.
Yes,
a few years ago.
I love that minimum viable product.
Have you ever been to that website Wayback Machine? where you can look at a website.
love
I
that
love that
site.
site.
You love
You can
it.
look at a
Everything's
website in
cached,
everything, every stage. So you can go back to like day one of YouTube.
No kidding.
Yeah, and I actually did it with BuzzFeed the other day, and I was really amazed at how
Where
much
did you do
they've
that?
grown. you
Yeah,
know?
I wanna imagine.
Yeah, the internet, it takes these snapshots.
Right.
And then,
Because I know Google
yeah.
does that.
Totally, yeah. So it basically has a complete archive. Not every single thing, but anything that's grown viably.
What's the site called again?
Wayback Machine.
Wayback.
Yeah. If you type in web archive to Google, it's like the first hit. It's very interesting.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh, okay. Cool. Dope.
What
Okay.
was it? A cat?
So, you're hilarious. So, what is next for you? What's up next? You know, do you have any projects on the go or?
Nothing in tech. No. Right now, I'm just focusing on music because, as I said, that's my other passion. So I'm taking a break. I want to explore the musical route. I still love tech. You know, it pissed me off.
Yeah.
But I'll get back into it. I need something. I need to be smart about it. You know, I need to really
patient.
Yeah, pick and choose my battles. And another kind of thing with me is that I obsess over everything. I love everything, and that's not being very smart. You kind of have to pick your favorites and go after those.
The stay in your lane mentality.
I hear you though.
Yeah,
man.
stay in your lane. Yeah. Because
Yeah, I read this interesting quote from Tony Robbins the other day actually, and it said, I can't remember it exactly, but like people are too okay with dabbling.
Okay.
When you should be committing to mastery.
Oh, I see. Yeah.
And it makes sense, you know, because I do that.
Yeah, it
I
does.
dabble in a lot of different things, but also like that's kind of the spice of life as well.
Yes.
You know, I don't want to just go pigeonhole on one thing because I enjoy other things.
But that's how our society.
What's the
is
compromise,
designed,
I
right?
guess?
Like,
I think you can do a ton of stuff, but say
No, like to get ahead now, you really have to excel at one thing, right? So yes, that's where dabbling doesn't help, but
I think there's overarching things. For instance, there's creative overarching where you can dabble in many creative things.
Sure.
You know, there's public speaking or whatever where you can dabble in many different elements. I think really what they mean is people saying, you know, I'm not gonna tomorrow say, hey, I'm gonna be a pro skateboarder.
But I like skateboarding.
But I could like skateboarding, but because realistically, skateboarding takes a ton of time. I mean, the dedication to be a pro skateboarder, I'm not gonna leave my producing life. I'm not gonna leave my, all that career on the wayside to develop a skateboarding career. I just don't have the hours. So I think that's what they mean in terms of there's a lot of dabbling going on. When I would say even though I might do 10 things, the main focus is always, it's in a creative realm.
It always kind of comes back.
It always comes back to something, which is creativity and production. At the end of the day, it's producing. You can produce mad shit, whether it's drawing, whether it's music, whatever. But you're not going to be a private investigator, and that's an inside joke because Mitch jokes about that.
Be a private.
Yeah.
I joke about that.
oh, you too, huh?
Yeah.
Well, not me, but
You joke about that shit.
Yeah, no, I think more so like covert ops, you know.
Yeah.
Like you join the army, like right now.
SEAL Team 6 or something.
Yeah.
I just think it would be so cool to be a private eye.
Of course, and
But also, like, it
Or
wouldn't be
secret
cool.
agent.
It wouldn't be
Like
cool at
James
all.
Bond.
Like, it would suck, probably. But in my mind, being a
I'm sure
private
every job
eye
sucks,
would be
right?
sick.
Every job, you know.
In a way, I'm sure.
Anyone in every industry is like
Has something to
my life.
complain about. Yeah.
No, absolutely.
So,
So,
if you're like king of the world.
are you still reading about tech at all, or are you mainly music now? Like, what are you working on now? I think coming back to that is good.
Yeah. No, I'm just doing my job, making money for now, just saving up, and exploring the arts. So working on music, doing some stuff with Mitch and some other friends.
How do you choose creative partners?
How do I choose them?
Or how do they choose you?
Well, they probably choose me because I work hard. How do I choose them? At this point, I'm kind of taking on everything, which may not be the smartest thing, but I do just want exposure to as much as possible in the arts, you know, because I'm starting to steer in that direction now. But ideally, I guess I would say I would choose those who are truly unique, who have something very special to bring to the table. That's what I would say. But again, they choose me because I work my ass off.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah.
You're a hard
good.
worker. Yeah.
Yeah.
even on the hard days, because that's when it's really the hardest.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, yeah.
Yeah.
Very true.
Yeah.
Exactly. Well, yo, I mean, we wish you the best of luck in like everything that's gonna happen, and I'm really excited for the songs you guys are working at.
Excellent.
Yeah,
Thank
it's gonna
you.
be good.
Appreciate it.
Thanks for coming by the office,
All right,
buddy.
buddy.
Yeah.
Yeah, thanks, man. Cheers.